This is Amud Yomi Gemara in Shabbos, Daf, Mem Amud Beis, and we're holding in the bottom of Mem Amud Aleph. As the Gemara goes a little bit to a sidebar. We spoke in the previous Gemara about the gezeros that were made in order that they did not heat up the bathhouses, etc. So says the Gemara, Amar Rav on the last line of Mem Amud Aleph, Haiman Da'avar Ad Rabbanan, someone that is Iver, a din Rabbanan, Shari lemikra le avaryana. You're allowed to call him an avaryan. You're allowed to call him one who is over an avera. Says the Gemara, Keman, whom is Rava going like? As we turn over to Memon Beis, Ki Aitana, like the previous Tana that said, Misharabu Ivre Avera. And what was the Averos a din? Dira Banan. Back to our Sigya of bathhouses. Ambatiois, the big bathtubs, the big bathhouses, Shal Krachim of the big cities, Metayel Bahan, we said you let it go in them, and you don't have to be worried. Amar Rava, Davka Kirachim of the large cities, Avul Kfarim of the small cities. Lie, there's no kula. My time, what's the reason? Kima Dezotrin, the smaller ones, Nafish Avlayu. There's more, not smoke, but there's more hevel, creates more steam. Steam, that's the word. More steam. Therefore, it is forbidden. Taner Rabbanan, 7 lines down, one is allowed to warm himself opposite a fire, and then go out and rinse himself with cold water. Ubelvad. But be careful, you can't do the reverse. You can't go into cold water and then stand next to the fire. Why? Because the water that's upon you, you're causing to heat up, and that is forbidden. At some level, there's bishul could happen over there. So you have cold water on you to stand next to a fire is forbidden. Taner Rabbanan, continues the Gemara, Mecham, Adam Aluntis. One could warm up a garment, and put it on his stomach, an old remedy for stomach issues, the hot water compress. Put it on your stomach. But you're not allowed to bring a pot of water, Shalmayim, but that on your stomach. Why is that not allowed? Because you might come to wash your body with the water. But says the Gemara, even during the week, don't do this. Why? It's a sakana. When they sakana to put a pot of boiling hot water in your stomach. So at Shabbos, number one, it's a sakana. And number two, you might come to wash yourself. But either way, it is forbidden. Tanu Rabbanan, says the Gemara. 12 lines from the white lines. The first word line is asakana. Maybe you can bring a pot of water, put it opposite a fire. But not so that it heats up. Just enough that it will remove the chill from the water. If you die, maybe a woman can bring a jug of oil as well, put it by a fire. Again, not that it cooks, it turns a little bit warm. Rashba goimer, Isha Sachayada B'Shem, and a woman is allowed to wash her hands with oil. Umechama Kenegin Madura, put her hands with the oil next to the fire. Now that she has this warm, oily hands, V'Salcha Lebena Katan, and then she could rub her child. Ve'eno Chaysheshes, that we're not worried about cooking up the oil. But Rashbag only allows to do it once the oil's on your hands. So Yibayilahu Shemin. When it comes to oil, ask the Gemara 3 lines from the white lines. Ma'u li Tanakama. What's the din according to Tanakama, who spoke about water? I didn't say anything about Shemin. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Rav Yitzchak Amali Yisura. Explains the Gemara. Rabbi Rav Yosef on the first very wide line, why? Shemin, when it comes to oil, even if it heats up to the heat of Yad Saledis boy, which is usually the level of Bishul, still it is mutter. Why? Because Savar Tanakama Shemin ain't by Mishum Bishul. There's no problem of bishul on shemen, on water, on oil. So he said the Tanakhama was talking about water, but that's where he's being machmir. But shemen, of course, you could do. Also, Rav Yehuda Lameimer shemen yishu mishum bishul. Rav Yehuda said no, shemen has an issue of bishul. They have sheirai, but cooking up oil a little bit warm, that's not a problem. And then V'asar Ashbag, and he's even more machmir lemeimar shemen yishu mishum bishul. Warming it up is the bishul, and the only thing that he allowed was to put it on your hands and put your hands near the fire as a shinoi. That's how Rabbi and Rav Yosef learn lekula. The opposite. Shemen avli yatzaledis by aser. They're more machmir on shemen. Even before yatzaledis, it's aser, and therefore, because the Tanakhama old shemen yivsham bishul v'shir zeh bishula. Therefore, the Tanakhama was only mekel on water, but wouldn't allow anything on shemen. Also, have you done meimar one step lower? Have shir zeh bishulai. Even warmth is the level of bishul. Therefore, warmth is not bishul, so he allowed to have share, but he didn't allow real bishul. No, therefore he only allowed it on your hands. Machlaikas, whether shemen is lechamra or shemen is lekula. Ask the Gemara, according to the second sheet of Nachman Bar Yitzchak, comes out, or Shemen Gamliel, Hainu Tanakam, they're both saying the same thing, that there is an Isra of bishul, and the level of havshir of warmth is bishul. Answers the Gemara, the chiddush of Shimon Gamliel is gufa, that he's willing to be mekel on doing it with a shinui. Whether it's oil, whether it's water, yatzoledis by aser, ein yatzoledis by motor. Everything is about yatzoledis. What's yatzoledis by? If the belly of a baby gets singed by it, that is yad soiledis. And of course, we're not suggesting one take their baby and try to boil up water on the stomach. Big machlekes what it is lemaisa. I went after Rebbe to the bathhouse. And I wanted to leave a pot of oil in the bathhouse so that the warmth of the bath will warm it up. And Rebbe said to me, Tol, take water from the bathhouse. Beklisheni, again, so you take the water and you pour it into klisheni, so it's a little bit cool. And then viten, and then you can put the oil into the klisheni, but not into the kli rishon. From here, says the Gemara Shema Mina Talas, from Rebbe's words, we can learn three dinim. Number one, Shema Mina, Shem Yesh Misham Bishul, there's clearly a problem with Bishul. Shema Mina, number two, klisheni and mavashal, there's no problem of cooking in a klisheni. Shema Minav Sheiroi Zeu Bishuloi. And these are, by far and large, these are actually the Psak Halacha, but of course, very large sugis. And we conclude, one last shtickle Gemara, says the Gemara, Heichi Avid Hachi, how can Rebbe do this? Everywhere in the bathhouse, you got to think in Torah. And therefore, how can Rebbe have paskin halacha for him? Maybe you're going to tell me he didn't talk in Lashon HaKodesh. He spoke in Lashon Chol, and that's how he was allowed to tell him what to do. But Shel Kodesh, if you're saying words of Kodesh, Psak Halacha, Divrei Torah, Asr Laimran B'Lashon Chol. Says the Gemara, Avshuri Meisura Shaini. You're right. But Rabbi Achana, Rav Yitzchak Bar Avdimi, was about to be over an Isser. So to stop someone from doing an Isser, even in the bathhouse, you're allowed to paskin for him. And Teid Delimar brings a raya. Tamar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel Ma'asav Talmidish Rameir Shenichlas Achar LeBeis HaMerech Zubikish Ladiach Lekarka. And he wanted to rinse the water with water. V'Amar La'in Madicha, don't do it. Lasach Ein Madichen. And then the Talmud wanted to do what? Lasach Lekarka. He wanted to smear oil on the floor. If all you're trying to do is stop the person from being over Nisr, that is allowed. We'll pick it up from Ravina B'siyata Dishmaya.